Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from Tinaheals.com, and this video is about a concept in traditional Hellenistic astrology called planetary joys. So this means that the traditional seven planets, that each planet has planetary joys, and it finds joy, or is joyful, is blissful, is exuberant in those particular houses. Seven planets in seven houses, so we are not using all the 12 houses here. So let's start with the first house. So first house is known as the helm. Okay, it is where Mercury finds joy. Mercury, the planet of communication. Mercury works very closely with the solar logos, bringing to us knowledge and wisdom from the sun. And therefore, it's very, very interesting that Mercury finds planetary joy in the first house, because first house really is our physical body. It's the first point of touch our soul makes with the 3D matrix. So the first house is very, very important about in the whole natal chart. It is the helm. So Mercury, which is the planet of communication, finds joy in this particular first house. So there is nothing in the world that can be executed without communication. So Mercury having joy in this first house is actually so joyous for me, because without the first house, there's really no pivot, there's really no anchor. So the second house, no. The third house, which is known as the house of goddess, is where the moon finds planetary joy and expresses herself beautifully. So the third house is the house of siblings. It's a short distance travel. It's local neighborhoods, vocational training, and all of that. So a lot of the moon's joys, or the moon significations, can now be added on to the third house. So imagination, psychic awareness, psychic perception, embodiment of our personal mysteries, all of these moon related attributes can be put to the third house. Interestingly, that is why possibly the moon in the Vedic system has significations very close to Mercury, because the moon in the Vedic system is considered the mind, but more the fluctuating mind, whereas Mercury is the communication. So the fact that the moon finds planetary joy in the third house, immediately in my mind links that Vedic concept of the mind with the moon, and that's just very, very interesting. So fourth house again, and no one. Fifth house is where Venus finds planetary joy, and rightfully so, because Venus is the planet of love, of harmony, of sex, of a lust, and all of that. So the fifth house is all of that, and ultimately it is house of children. So love, romance leads to children, procreation, creativity. So, a lot of the house significations can be derived from planetary joys. And if you study other systems, you can successfully combine a lot of very complex significations to come at interesting results for your clients. Now, the sixth house is where Mars, the lesser malefic, finds joy. Sixth house is house of health, house of diet, exercise, everyday work, fitness. And interestingly, again, in the Vedic system, the sixth house is the house of hidden enemies, whereas in the tropical system, the seventh house is more the house of known enemies. 12th house is the hidden enemies aspect. So here, Mars being a malefic, Mars being confrontation, brings enemies. So this again very interestingly links up the Vedic and the tropical, the Hellenistic systems very closely. And I've been studying both systems, so I find great joy in linking these types of significations, you know. So seventh house again, no one. Eighth house again, no one idol. It's the idol. Seventh house the descendant, because first house is the ascendant, is ascending on the east, and the seventh house is descending on the east. So eighth and ninth house is where the sun finds planetary joy. The sun, the solar logos are, the way we shine, the way we illuminate things. It brings, it finds joy in the ninth house. Ra, sun finds joy in the ninth house. Ninth house is the domain of Jupiter. And interestingly, many say that Jupiter was set out to be just like the sun, and he would have his own solar system, but ultimately he didn't. He fizzled out and became a planet, and the sun sort of pulled him in its orbit, and they started this sun and Jupiter dance. So the Jupiter actually shields our solar system from very many dangerous objects coming in. So the Jupiter is the great guru in the Vedic culture. He is Brihaspati, or the guru, and that's why I think ninth house has to do is where sun finds planetary joy, because ninth house is the house of higher education, and sun is intelligence and higher education. I know we associate Mercury to intelligence, but Mercury is more the writing and the reading, what thought became, whereas sun or Ra is more supra intelligence, cosmic intelligence. So the sun having a joy in this ninth house, which is the house of blessing, the house of fortune, good fortune. It's very interesting that ultimately sun is intelligence, and the ninth house has to do with supra intelligence. Yes, higher education, supra intelligence. Okay. 10th, nothing. Then midheaven. 11th is where Jupiter finds planetary joy. Now I have a Jupiter in the 11th, exalted Jupiter in the 11th in Cancer, and look what I'm doing, I'm teaching. So it's essentially a very beautiful Jupiter in the 11th house. No matter what sign he's in, he's able to harmoniously make you a sort of guru figure to your community online also, possibly. Whatever you teach, whatever you do, it gets sort of exalted with Jupiter in the 11th. It's, oh my god, a very precious house to have your Jupiter in. So when you're reading your natal chart, if you look at planetary joys, it gives you an additional layer to work with. Okay, now 12th house is again Saturn's domain, because Saturn finds planetary joy, and this is the house of evil spirits. 11th house, Jupiter's domain, is the house of good spirits. So here is where Saturn dances, and I have a Saturn in the 12th on the 29th degree of Leo, conjunct the fixed star Regulus, which is now moved in to the Virgo constellation. But it is the regal, the most royal star is where I have my Saturn, in my 12th house of evil spirits, the 12th house of self-undoing, because Saturn wants self-mastery to such a degree that he finds joy in putting together, doing correctly what we have undone. I think that is why. And Saturn's ultimately in the 12th house is there to awaken you to a spiritual purpose. Okay, yes, Saturn conjunct Sun in the 12th could mean the loss of your father. Saturn, could mean difficult things in the 12th house, alcoholism, incarceration, even jail time. But Saturn, a well-placed Saturn in the 12th house, makes you a king of the spiritual world. Okay, so that was a bit about the planetary joys. I hope you enjoy these little, planetary tete-a-tetes and musings that I share with you. Like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what you think. Thank you.